Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night from wherever you are listening. Joining me today is ECNI engineer Annie Azhar from Viridor, currently 1 year within her graduate program. We're extremely happy to be collaborating with Annie for tomorrow's engineering week, inspiring students, apprentices, graduates to take a leap into the electrical sector. Over this week, we'll be collaborating with engineers across the industry to find out what tips, advice, training, and experiences they've had to inspire the students and apprentices of today and the engineers of tomorrow. So over to Annie. I'd just like you to take a few minutes to introduce yourself. Hello, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi Ben, how are you? Hello to everyone who's listening. As you know, it's Annie, an electrical and controls engineer by profession, a graduate from University of Liverpool. I by day, yeah, if I'm when I'm fixing things on site, and by night I'll be just trying to invent stuff. And not to sound very fancy, but yeah, I do. I'm a baker as well as. I read a lot. Apart from that, yeah, I've been 1 year into my graduate program now. I've been 2 years in industry. I'm working for Viridor as an ECNI engineer, and yeah, I'm loving it.
Excellent. So where are you based, Annie, right now?
I'm Liverpool. I'm right now based at the Runcorn site, and yeah.
No, excellent. So I'll just jump straight into the questions. So, as those who might be watching, we've introduced the questions in 4 different stages. We'll be talking to Annie in regard to her preschool days to understand what influenced her back in her youth. We're still young, back in her youth, to see what inspired her to take this route. They will then move on into a school, into training, and then for the future. So we'll jump straight in. So, Annie, from a young age, was there anything that you wanted to do in particular? Was it engineering? Was it something else?
Well, like any other kid, I think so. I wanted to be at one point be a teacher. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to, be a pilot and whatnot. I think so. We all have those kind of aspirations when we are young. But for me, yeah, it did dive into, and I used to be not a science geek, I'll say, but watching all those National Geographic programs on engineering and megastructures and brain games. It just got me hooked into being what I am today.
Excellent. When you was younger, this might be a really random question. Was there any sort of toys which influenced you to get down this path? I know there's a lot of building
Uh,
things out there. There's kids' blocks and such like that. Was there anything from your background or your youth that you used to play with, basically, that you think might have shaped you into this role?
Yeah, I'd just say that I was very interested in my own television, and I think I remember I remember whenever it would break down. Obviously, it was not like before. We are still not too old, so so
I'm getting there.
whenever it would break down, and we'll have someone to fix it. I'll just be even when I was a kid, I'll just be into it and looking at how they're doing things and how they're fixing things and all the small components of computers and stuff. And I won't say there was a particular toy, but yeah, just looking at things being fixed and just myself doing all that stuff. It just built my interest.
Definitely, I feel that would have been some form of influence in today, for sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure it will have been. So I'm just going to jump into school, Annie. So back at school, what did you excel at? What sort of modules did you take? Is there any particular subject you enjoyed more than others?
Well, I can proudly say I was a math geek. I still am. I love math. I love math to the core. Maybe it's down to my mom being a math fanatic herself. But yeah, I always just loved maths and was a kind of. I even remember people used to call me a walking calculator because I would have my hands up before the teacher even have written the whole question on the board. But yeah, maths would always take my interest, even in as a kid or when I was in an engineering school or anywhere. And all the other subjects, science subjects, are usually connected. So maths, physics, and chemistry kind of just I went for it.
So would you say having that strong background in maths and sciences supported you in your role today?
Definitely, definitely. I'd say since I myself tutor a lot of young generation in my family and outside just on maths, so I think it's very important to have that base strong for you to kind of it's just I think so it's a kind of a stigma most of the time where or you see in TV programs as such as well that people usually hate maths which I always found strange because I think so it's just that it's just a stigma but it's very easy to be honest and if you have that base built strong since again it depends on if you get good teachers or you just like it I think so yeah it just helps you out even now I think so it helps me out all the time.
Oh, excellent. Just jumping back into engineering, back when I was at school, which was a couple of years ago now, engineering wasn't actually a course at school or for GCSE or anything like that. What was your first sort of contact with engineering, should you say? How did you hear about engineering and why engineering? Why was that an interest?
Yeah, you're right. And engineering is not obviously was not always would and it's still not as a subject when you're in school and colleges. But again, maths, physics, you study that, doing experiments and stuff, and taking part in science exhibition. That was kind of my thing to do.
Mhm.
Even if I say I'm not a science geek, but for me, a very big role I'd say which played was I used to read a lot. So. Not only the subject books, but a lot of science fiction. I used to watch it all the time, National Geographic. It's just all those engineering programs where you used to destroy things and build things and do all those experiment and mega structures and just people inventing things. That I think so. That was my just it just built in me that if I'd this is a subject which is not just in books. It doesn't sometimes sound interesting as it is when you see it. So I think so that's where I just got the interest and okay, this is something maybe we could look at rather than just reading books and that's where it started. I think so we still were not in that time, but now it's so good and so easy that you have videos on everything.
Mhm.
You don't have to just study your books, but you can kind of dive into the whole experiment rather than studying it. And I think so it does build up an interest in any particular subject, be it biology, be it maths. But yeah, that was my go-to.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So let's jump forward a few years. This next one is incredible. You've got two masters, haven't you?
I have, yes, I have 2 degrees, yes.
Excellent. Would you be able to talk through them both? I know one was in Pakistan, wasn't it? And then the
Yeah, so
other
I
one.
did my initial degree, a 4 years, a bachelor's in engineering, so a BEng in Pakistan, my home country, and just choosing through pre-engineering and stuff, and I'd say I again maths, physics, chemistry that they just agreed with me, and there are so many fields still to choose from, be it mechanical, electrical, and stuff, and a lot of times I've been asked this question, why this, why engineering, and I'd again say, all those questions where we build up that it just interests me. And it was something which I always like. And I think that I always wanted to be a inventor and kind of, I thought that this route would be it. So I studied 4 years as an electrical engineer, studied 4 years electrical engineering for 4 years. And it was all based on a very general experience of, from maths to basic electrical engineering to electronics, computers, and all those versatile subjects which makes us an engineer. I'd say 44 subjects over 4 years and a big 1 year project it was. And which gave me my first degree as a BEng as electrical engineering. Yeah, and then I just didn't had enough. I did do a few months of internship after that,
Excellent.
and I loved it. I loved the industrial world, but I just wanted to spread my wings and have a bit more specialization in my pocket before joining this industry back again. So I applied for scholarships all over the kind of UK was my preferred country. So I got a scholarship in University of Liverpool to study electrical electronics engineering. It's a MEng, which I did over 2 years again, and it it was just very specifically about controls and electrical, and and with the ear industry as well, which was, I think, which was very beneficial in me getting where I am now.
No, excellent. Within your class, within the actual the degree, what was the gender balance? Was there many females? Was there more males? What was
Um,
it like?
I'd I'd say it was a big class back in my first degree. I would say the balance was still 35-65, since it was a very big class of
Mhm.
250. But
Wow.
when I came down to my master's, strangely, I found that the gender balance was, I'd say I was the only girl in my course.
Wow.
I was the only girl in my course, and they were all obviously guys from all over the world. But yeah, I was the only girl who did, and I'd say that gender balance was what, even in the whole of electrical and electronics department of University of Liverpool, it was just over 20/80.
hmm What was it difficult to build a relationship with your peers in the masters, or was it fun because it's a smaller group of people? What was your experience with that?
Yeah, I'd say since it was a very small group of people, not a big class like in my first degree, it
Mhm.
was still I was still able to form that experience, and obviously it's kind of a lot developed rather than old times, but it was easy for me to get around things and form a group as well for our group projects, but. Yeah, but I'd still expect more girls to be, in not in only this course, but in engineering in particular. Yes.
Exactly. It's 2020 now. It's 2020,
Yes,
nearly
of course.
2021. Um,
Yeah.
Within your family, is there anyone within the engineering world, or are you the very first?
I'm the very first female engineer from my generation, or were the very first female engineers. We do have a lot of doctors, but a few of my uncles are engineers. We have a biomedical engineer. We have a thermal. My father himself is a boiler engineer, and we do have a few engineers. Yes, but from my generation, I'm the first female engineer.
Would you say they would have been an inspiration as well for getting you into this?
I would, yeah, of course, I would. Talking to them about it, it's a very different. Although I'd say it's a very different age where they were engineers, and it was very different how what route they took. But it's always interesting when whenever I would see all those programs and have a rapport with them about it, and just knowing things, and yeah, I would say they did have a bit of influence on me going down this route.